This morning, Rick previewed his 2026 menswear collection called Tower, and yesterday SK8STAR dropped a new song called For My Folks. Everything here was low-key fire, and I wanted to start some discourse around it. Women's Wear Daily was able to get an interview with Rick, and I wanted to go over some of the things he said about the collection to keep the narrative in mind before we go over the looks together. The first big thing I wanted to point out was him speaking on police enforcement. He quotes, "It's something that we just cannot avoid in the world around us right now." So I thought, what does one do with fears or concerns like that? You make fun of it, you mock your oppressors. He specifically mentions the exaggerated, grotesque boots he had on a lot of the models. I find this lovely. With how much bloodshed and disgusting headlines we've had to endure in the West, getting a designer that will offer thought and pieces around these matters feels liberating. I was watching Mark Carney's speech at the World Economic Forum, and he referenced a paper on how the Communist Party sustained itself. And it started with this idea of the shopkeeper putting up the sign, "We the workers unite," even when no one believes it.
And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't. So what are our options? In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with a greengrocer. Every morning, this shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite." He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along. And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Not through violence alone, but through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false. Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack.
When compliance becomes weak amongst the people. So to see one of the largest American designers not be scared to talk about the disillusionment being held in the West allows for room for people like us to just talk about it through the clothing. Now, he also speaks about the military-inspired choices he made and how the fog was somewhat of a deep choice, but also somewhat lighthearted. But now that we know where a lot of the references are coming from, let's start going over the show together. I'm not gonna lie, this opening model for Rick is gonna be my inspiration to get slender. There's jokes online that this is like Rick's boyfriend or something. I'm not sure. He's in like every runway that I've seen as of recently, and it's been my fuck the Eddie jeans. It's really this is the reason why. There is this, he climbed up in the last collection that I watched. It was Rick Owens' Temple, and I'm pretty sure he just hung on there like damn near looking like Jesus. And I was like, you know what, I might not got the skin, I might not got the hair and shit, but like I could definitely start looking like that if I put some more time in the gym. But let's get back to the collection now. I'm first catching these multi-material bulbous sweaters and the pant covers. The cargo pockets on the pant covers make it look a lot more violently inspired rather than sophisticated. My first reference that comes to mind being Phoebe Philo doing this, and these nylon covers. I enjoy these leg covers a lot, as any ways to make more shapes for menswear is a plus for me. I think it's something that's going to be able to take a lot of strides at menswear here soon, because we've been seeing the long skirts trying to establish themselves for a while, but compartmentalizing the skirt into a leg cover allows for more comfort for the user, especially when we start playing with lengths. I'm all for the leg covers. How are you guys feeling about look 5 and 6? I personally don't like the ghillie suit string looks. There was a funny point in the runway where you could see the model adjust their Rick ghillie suit, probably because they couldn't see through all that. Look 10 feels straight out of an anime or manga, I'm not gonna lie. The contemporary hairstyling is cool. It's something that we're gonna see a lot of throughout the future looks here. Looks 11 and 12 are really standing out to me as well. The felt body cover reminds me of this jacket I came across when I was reading this illustration book for war uniforms, so the military inspiration is definitely sticking here. It also looks like something Cloud Montana has done as well, so like power dressing / military prevalent here. Also, the layering of the bags matching with all the different materials is creating quite the spectacle for me. We see a lot more of the hairstyling in 14 and 15, but I don't have much to say here. It's the ghillie suits. Look 16 is insane though. from the hair to the neck epaulets that were mentioned earlier in the video. There's a character that I'm trying to think of that looks just like this, but I can't put my finger on it. Look 17 is pretty hilarious to me because it reminds me of when I was a kid and guys were turning their Nike hoodies into crop tops, but it wasn't able to catch any momentum. This look feels modern now though. I definitely can see this out on the streets soon. More of the neck epaulets here on the leather jackets as we continue onwards. I enjoy the chest belt motif on these leather jackets. I don't know if it's a biker jacket thing or if he's trying to reference straight jackets, but I like them a lot. Then we start getting shown a lot of variations of the pieces. The felt camo is fire, the fish scale leather crop top, and then we get to look 30. Where these suit coats are introduced, and just with the picture, the quality seems insane. Also, these Rick glasses are definitely hard. They look like a rendition of aviator glasses. But back to the suit coats, I wonder if this item could pick up amongst this crowd quite well. It seems very commercial. I think it would be cool to see something like this alongside a Philo look if I was in an office setting. Now, whether I would ever be in the office setting, I don't know. Those are pretty big boss convos for sure. And if Runway, Rick, and Philo are in the same meeting room, I don't know, that's hard. That'd be insane. But I'm going to present my closing thoughts on the collections, and then we can move on to SK8STAR. It all seems very on theme, and I like this silent revolt through the clothes. His shows have been quite spectacular as of late, and for this one to feel more low-key and have a more serious attitude and outlook, it's nice. It's not disconnected. I talked about in my last vid about enjoying D-Squared taking very worldly inspirations and still being able to make this wearable fantasy to enjoy. I voiced my concern that most designers will just fall flat on their face trying to represent the ideas or feelings of an everyday person with this new cultural shift that we're seeing in luxury, but it seems Western designers are sharpening up, and I'm here for it. I like that fashion as an art form since I started participating has been about subversion. We've seen waves of brands appropriately representing the people and getting their flowers for it. When I started in Colorado, my mom literally sat me down and voiced her concerns about being pulled over and not to be worried. My sister's husband tried getting her not to drive to work. These issues are real, and getting luxury representation without it falling flat on its face is nice. Now that's all I got for Rick. Let's get into SK8STAR's new song, upcoming album, and some gold I've been finding in the underground as it's shaping up to be like beautiful. Honestly, I've been finding so much music. I think I'm gonna make my playlist public for y'all. So yesterday, I was quite early to this new song from SK8STAR called For My Folks, and it's insane. I already gave it 100 listens for sure. From the Xavier Anthony edits to the confidence that's very apparent in his music, it was all fire. Skate's vocal tuning has been getting a lot better throughout his come up, and I wanted to highlight this part in the song where he's trolling in the lyrics, and he low-key sounds like he's trolling in the vocal structure as well. I'm believing this is supposed to help his rollout for the next album, Designer Junkie, and I think it'd be perfect to drop it during Fashion Week, especially if it ends up being something that's held in high regards, as its anniversary would always be perfectly timed as well. From what I found, it seems this album's been getting teased for a while, and that there's still no confirmed date, but I'm waiting patiently until it does come. This whole camp is making waves right now. It's crazy to see how much of this was stirred up by Ian Connor. I remember him posting Teezus like a year ago in the club before he even had 10k followers. Now having seen Teezus and Diamond catch a mil each from Thug, I wonder who else in this camp could be next. They're all pushing each other creatively. It's extremely evident, and I'd personally like to see the cameraman Xavier, PZ, and Skate get picked up by Thug as well. When the tours really start in America and they're not just like super underground, I know there's gonna be super fun. I'm definitely gonna try and catch one, especially if they come down here like to LA. How did you guys feel about the song though? Did you guys listen to it yet? Are you excited for Designer Junkie? Let me know. I also wanted to talk about this other artist I ran into. Her name is Baby Kel. She's this Atlanta thugged out shawty recording music vids out the basement, and it's like low-key funny, but it's raw, very raw. It reminds me of early Glock in that sense. See, I dropped this song Terp about a month ago, and I watched it get like 1,000 views every day for weeks straight. This definitely pushed her to drop another video. It was called Jumpin' Jacks, and I was scared that she was gonna start talking about some crazy shit, but she didn't. It was a playful ass beat. She has a thick Atlanta accent, but she's obviously just having fun on the tracks. I've listened to every other song that I could find from her, and I do hope she takes in a direction where none of the thugged out playfulness is lost, but it's sharpened. I think this type of shit could be really fresh to the underground. The song has okay inspired me to make a bunch of girly pop word graphics, because she had this one bar where she was like, nigga this pop rock, nigga this girly pop. And I was like, damn, I bet I'm finna make some graphics based off this. If it's girly pop, it's girly pop. I'm not gonna lie. I suggest you tap in, be early, and if you're a creative, this could be an easy placement to get in, or like, you know, easy way to tap in for some work. Being able to catch these artists early and grow with them as opposed to having to pay for them later on. Seems like the smarter move. But that's all I had to say about this. How did you guys feel about the vid? I watched my last vid over and it was lucky ass. I'm not gonna lie. The editing was fine. I fuck with my own editing. I'm not gonna lie, but it was hella quiet. I use scripts, so I know it sounds kind of like a script. I'm trying to learn how to write I'm trying to learn how to write mo better. That's like terrible. I'm trying to learn how to write better so that it sounds more human, or find a way to be more articulate, because as you can hear, I double talk a lot. I'm done. Peace out, y'all. Thank y'all for checking out the video, and yeah.